Life doesn't always present you with a straight path. When you're looking for a solution, when you want answers to a problem, sometimes it's a twisty road. And I want to give you an update on the 62 GMC. When I got it, it had 3 different style rims on it. One of the rims was a trailer tire rim, and so wanted to eliminate that problem. Swapped some rims I had, ended up getting a flat on a regular basis, decided to get rid of the 16.5s altogether. To go with 16s, I had a set of 16-inch tires here. Just needed to find 2 rims. And how hard could that be? Combed the internet, talked to everyone I knew. I was coming up with nothing. So, you know, I'm looking for the carburetor as well. And so I'm researching that, and I find out that Studebakers have Strongbird WWs. And so the other carburetor that we acquired, it was missing a idle tube. It was horrible on the inside. It was kind of rusty on the butterflies, and so it was going to be a tremendous amount of work. So went over and saw a Studebaker guy, and he brought out some carburetors, and they were okay. And then he disappeared, and he came back, and he says, this one came from the second shelf. And so this is a top shelf carburetor. When he pulled it off, it totally functioned. And so I'm looking forward to getting it installed and seeing how it's doing. But while I was there, one of the Studebaker guys says, have you talked to John? John might have those rims. And so I went and talked to John, and sure enough, he had the rims. So I threw some rattle can paint on them, had them mounted, balanced, and so my flat problem is over. I've got that stock look, and these tires are kind of meaty, so it makes the truck look tough, and so that's really cool. In our devotional today, we find kind of the same thing. We find a situation to where Job is kind of looking for this straight path, like, hey, my life was going along great, and then this happened. Why? Why did this happen? And so he's searching for some answers, and his friends are searching for answers too. And interesting enough is that when he begins to dialogue with God, he doesn't really get the answer. And so we know at the beginning that he was a righteous man, and we know at the end that he was abundantly blessed with his righteousness intact. But that middle part, as the devotionalist says, is a bit hazy. And this is what real life is all about. And what God says to Job in the second part of Job 41:11 is, whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. We have a hard time really understanding that because we want to connect the dots. We want it all to make sense. We don't really want this curvy path, even though we live that curvy path every day. If you've ever studied history, you know that history is not a straight path. We're looking forward into our future right now, and we're thinking that it's going to go bump, 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 just like we think, and it doesn't. It always takes twists and turns. It sometimes catches us by surprise. What God wanted Job to do was, instead of figuring out how to connect all the dots, he wanted Job to look to him, the author and the finisher of life. He wanted Job to look to him, increase his faith, increase his trust in him. That's what he wanted. Totally rely on God. Because see, sometimes we want to rely on our intellect. Sometimes we want to rely on our experience. And God's saying, no, you gotta rely on me. You gotta rely on me. You know, it ought to be lessons like this. I mean, all I'm looking for is 2 rims. I mean, how hard can it be to find a little idle tube? That's a little tiny thing, size of a nail. This stuff ought to be lessons that life is not a straight path. And you can fret over the journey, or you can take that journey with Jesus. Won't you do that? Won't you take that journey with Jesus? And if you don't know him as your Savior, I'd encourage you to reach out to the Lord today. Call out to him in prayer. Surrender your life totally to him. because otherwise this journey is very frustrating. Doesn't seem to make a lot of sense at all. May God bless you. Thank you so much for tuning in and to sharing these videos. I love you guys, and we will see you tomorrow.